Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today for my video diary. I'm going to get on a bit on my soapbox today. If you've seen my cooking video this week, I've made Brazil nut milk. Now, it's one of my favorites. If you watch the video, it's a really lovely milk, and you know, I make almond milk and different other milks as well. But one thing I used to drink a lot of and am now quite scared of is soy milk. Now, you know, growing up as a kid, we were brought up on dairy products, as most of us were. And when I was about 11, I participated in a hospital survey and a trial with a doctor in Auckland, New Zealand. And that was just talking about, I suffered with asthma and eczema as a kid, so it was about that connection between dairy causing these sorts of problems. I think that was first, you know, that was where I first realised that dairy did cause me a problem. So growing up, I cut a lot of that out. I've still got a weakness for cheese and I still have it every so often, but I don't have very much of it. And I've discovered lately in trying to duplicate and make, there are some fantastic nut cheeses out there, which is going to be another cooking video down the track. But anyway, so because I stopped having a lot of dairy, I used to drink gallons and gallons of milk as a kid and could just, you know, drink it by the bottle full, no problem at all, and then I'd end up sick. So then years later I discovered soy milk. So I'd have that in my coffees and I'd have it in my smoothies and be cooking with it and all sorts of things. What I didn't realise until just recently when the penny dropped, for years I suffered terrible migraines, and looking back now, it was through that period when I was consuming a lot of soy. If you've watched some of my videos, you know I don't buy a lot of processed foods. I cook a lot from scratch, but this soy is in so much stuff in your supermarkets and everywhere. I've read recently that most processed foods, in fact 60 to 80% of processed foods contain soy in it. The Chinese and Japanese learned thousands of years ago that you really had to ferment it to be able to digest it properly. And soy lovers will argue that, you know, these cultures have eaten it for centuries. Yes, they have eaten it, but they've eaten it in small quantities. And as I said, they've fermented it. They've got tempeh and miso and that sort of thing. And that's how they consume it. And they have it as a condiment. In the Western world, it's been taken up by, you know, another one of these big corporations. They've produced soy oil and they've ended up with these byproducts and waste products and thought, wow, we've got all this stuff, how can we turn this into some more dollars? Oh, we'll make it into, you know, we'll put it in the food chain, we'll add it to chewing gum and pizzas and all these other things, and make some money out of it. It's a billion-dollar industry out there that they're making money of. Now, soy, when it's absorbed by the body, it produces these phytoestrogens. Now, that's fine in small doses and, you know, can be beneficial to the body. So a phytoestrogen is a plant-based estrogen. And when you're consuming that, the body mimics that estrogen. So we're putting more estrogen into our system than we need, and it's scary. We've got children, you know, 7-year-old girls that are starting menstruation and having to deal with changes in their body and all that, and 7 years old, they should be out playing. We've got infertility problems with male and females. Now, males may not even think that they've got a lot of estrogen in their system, but by consuming products that have soy in them, which are right across the board, you know, I challenge you this week to just go out and have a look on the back of some of these packets that you're buying, and I guarantee that over 50% of them will have soy. Chocolate, bubble gum, chewing gum, pizza, pies, you name it, bread. And don't start me on bread, that's a whole other ball game. But you know, we just need to be aware. It takes me back again to being aware and understanding what's in your food. If you don't recognize something as a whole food or a whole ingredient that you could have sitting on your bench, you know, why should we be eating it? We're putting faith in these people that are producing these things that we've really got no idea what it's going to do to your body. So that's my message this week. Just have a look at what you're buying. Be aware that soy is in everything. And I'll leave you with one scary thing that I read a couple of days ago, or I think it was on a podcast of Sean Stevenson, who is a fantastic guy. If you want to listen to a guy who's really into nutrition and looking after your body, check out his podcast. And he said 1 8-ounce glass of soy milk contains the same estrogen as in 1 birth control pill. So that is scary. And I mean, do we really want to be putting this sort of stuff into our body? So it's just, again, being aware of what you're eating, how your body tolerates it. Listen to your body, and if you are having these adverse effects or reactions or getting sick, you know, just have a think about what you're eating and what you're consuming. Remember that fresh is best, and if you don't recognize an ingredient as a whole food, I don't think we should be eating it. Definitely try the Brazil nut milk. I'm sure you'll love it. You can toss that soy in the bin and make sure you're nourishing your body with good stuff instead of some of this poison that's out there and in our food chain now. So I'm down off my soapbox now. I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for joining me today. Subscribe to my channel and you'll get updates of our videos each week, and I'll see you next week on Jo's Kitchen Capers. Bye!